NATO makes its wartime debut as a climate tech investor. Study documents the slowing of Atlantic currents. Malaysia braces for worst as heat wave to run through mid-April.
Australia waters down fuel emissions laws in blow to Tesla. Pakistan to seek U.S. sanction waivers for gas pipeline from Iran. Recently, Voice of America had reported as, no need for U.S. waiver to build gas pipeline with Iran, Pakistan says. DHL says globalization expands despite geopolitical and policy headwinds.
Court agrees to stop New York from seizing Trump's assets if he puts up $175 million within 10 days. Trump's Stormy Daniels hush money trial to start on April 15, judge rules. U.S. Appeals Court finds for Donald Trump Jr. in defamation suit by former coal CEO Don Blankenship.
Thailand, Philippines embrace nuclear power to cut emissions. Rosatom plans to build tokamak with reactor technologies by 2030, and helium from Siberian, Far Eastern fields to cover 45% of global demand, claimed by scientists. In the U.S., Energy Agency announces $6 billion to slash emissions in industrial facilities.
Swedish appeals court rules space rock should stay with the owner of the property where it landed. Parents file $1.5 million lawsuit after Quebec teacher accused of selling students' artwork online. Malaysia Minimart executives charged over a lawsuit. The Audi R8 is officially dead. Porsche will stop selling Boxster Cayman in Europe due to anti-hacking law. Lucid Motors raises another $1 billion from Saudi Arabia as it searches for luxury EV buyers. Nissan to launch 30 new models by 2026, including 14 gas and 16 electrified cars, where Nissan to launch 7 new models and refresh most of U.S. lineup by 2026. Fisker deal talks with big automaker collapse, NYSE to delist stock. In Germany, Transport Minister wants to invest €150 million in German air taxi startup. UK and US sanction Chinese entities for malicious cyber activity against British MPs and Pentagon contractors. New Zealand accuses China of hacking parliament, condemns activity. Millions of Americans caught up in Chinese hacking plot, announced by the US. Chinese-American World War II veterans who served, despite being denied US citizenship, honored by Congress. Records confirm Trump's mother-in-law came to US through process he derided. Shamima Begum loses initial bid to challenge citizenship removal at Supreme Court. 1 month ago, Shamima Begum, the former IS wife, loses UK citizenship appeal.
UN Security Council demands immediate Gaza ceasefire as US abstains. Bloomberg comments as the US just fired a first diplomatic shot at Israel. Israel cancels Washington visit after US allows UN Gaza ceasefire resolution to pass. Trump calls on Israel to finish up the war in Gaza because it is losing a lot of the world.
Clunky new $3,300 clear sticky tape bracelet from fashion house Balenciaga mercilessly mocked on China social media. Yet another sealed 4 GB original iPhone brings in over $100,000 at auction. Africa seen as growing hotspot for $3,000 in night hotel rooms. 27 Texans make Bloomberg's Billionaires 2024 index as more rich Americans move to Texas. Mumbai dethrones Beijing as Asia's new billionaire capital, announced by the Huron Report. The new boss of Boeing's commercial airplanes division is a third-generation employee.
Titanic door that saved Kate Winslet sells for $718,750, beating Indy's whip. BBC looks for commercial deals as it faces potential end of license fee. Barcelona's famous Sagrada Familia will finally be completed in 2026.
Sean Diddy Combs' LA and Miami homes raided by law enforcement, officials say, and Sean Diddy Combs' private jet lands in Caribbean amid U.S. home raids. Kate Middleton conspiracy theories fueled by China, Russia and Iran after cancer diagnosis.
Google search will now show you AI summarized results, whether you want them or not. Hackers hijack GitHub accounts in supply chain attack, affecting Top GG and others. Do Kwon released from Montenegrin prison on bail. Terraform Labs civil trial begins in NYC.
Silicon Valley's biggest city is training AI to detect homeless encampments. Ron DeSantis signs bill requiring parental consent for kids under 16 to hold social media accounts, and Florida bans social media for kids under 14. Republic of Georgia wants to ban changing gender in sweeping new anti-LGBTQ+ law.
CBD products don't ease pain and are potentially harmful, new study finds. Chick-fil-A backtracks from its no antibiotics in chicken pledge, blames projected supply shortages. Life might survive the sulfuric acid clouds of Venus, new experiments find.
Elon Musk's ex loses lawsuit against research group that reported rise in hate speech, racist content on social network, as judge tosses Elon Musk's ex lawsuit against anti-hate group. Lawsuit against YouTube led by Steve Wozniak set to continue. EU rejects Apple's European App Store changes and the company could be fined 10% of global turnover.
Boeing demands Virgin Galactic destroy all data from its failed space tourism partnership. Qualcomm ends bid to buy Israel's Autotalks after antitrust probe. Forgotten Tetris sequel Tetris Reversed resurfaces, after a decade. Sony develops new 247-megapixel medium format sensor. BBC will stop using AI for Doctor Who promotion after receiving complaints. Cillian Murphy to lead Blood Run's Cole film adaptation at Universal. Anne Hathaway lost roles after Oscar win because of how toxic my identity had become online, says Christopher Nolan backed her, I had an angel in him. Israel pushes back on UN ceasefire call. Gallant says, we've no moral right to end war, and Israel to attack Hamas everywhere, says Defense Minister, as Gallant says, if IDF ends Gaza war early, Hezbollah will start next war sooner. Brazilian police launch investigation into Bolsonaro's two-night sleepover at Hungarian embassy, as reported, Bolsonaro, facing investigations, hid at Hungarian embassy, and is it a crime to sleep in the embassy, asks Bolsonaro.
Ukraine relies on Starlink for its drone war. Russia appears to be bypassing sanctions to use the devices too. Japan to sell fighter jets in latest break from post-war pacifist ideals, and North Korea says Japan's prime minister offered to meet with leader Kim Jong-un soon. In Argentina, the government finalizes the purchase of F-16 supersonic aircraft from Denmark. Binance seeks new buyer for Russian business following ComEx closure. London Stock Exchange will launch crypto ETNs tracking BTC and ETH on May 28. U.S. sanctions 3 cryptocurrency exchanges for helping Russia evade sanctions. Putin says Islamic extremists raided concert hall but attack masterminds are yet to be found, and Moscow court arrests 7th defendant in Crocus City Hall attack case. Macron says terrorists who hit Russia had tried to attack France. Kyrgyzstan calls on citizens not to travel to Russia. Indonesia's military arrests 13 elite soldiers accused of involvement in cruel torture. Recently, Indonesian military apologizes after West Papuan man filmed being tortured in water-filled barrel. Hong Kong's John Lee vows to step up intelligence gathering, analysis for law enforcement after Article 23 legislation.
SEC seeking $2 billion in fines from Ripple, according to Chief Legal Officer. The crypto airdrops are not securities, lawsuit against SEC argues. Binance blocked by Philippine securities watchdog. FTX to sell $884 million of Anthropic shares to 24 institutional investors. Adam Neumann offers to buy back WeWork for more than $500 million, WSJ reports. 4 months ago, WeWork, once a $47 billion firm, files for bankruptcy after accruing $2.9 billion debt. Hong Kong court declares HK01 founder Yu Pun Hoi bankrupt, over $470 million debt.
Indonesia hunts clues as study suggests Javan tiger may still exist. Newly discovered Australian beetle almost mistaken for bird poo. Archaeologists are now finding microplastics in ancient remains.
Rio de Janeiro's most notorious murder case is closed 6 years later, as Brazil police arrest suspected masterminds behind 2018 assassination of Councillor Marielle Franco. Greek government accused of manipulating train tragedy evidence after crash killed 57 a year ago. Station master charged in Greece train crash that killed 57. In India, arrested Telangana cop recorded 10 law conversations, operated war rooms with private servers, found in a probe. No one has ever seen a bomb this size. Eric Trump criticizes $454 million judgment against his father. Truth Social merger approved, giving Trump potential source of cash. Simon Harris confirmed leader of Ireland's Fine Gael party, set to be country's youngest premier.
Damning figures for UK military recruitment, with 54% giving up on the process last year. Around 100 Russian spies reportedly operating in Austria under diplomatic cover, claimed in reports. Singapore orders Israeli embassy to remove Facebook post about Palestine, Quran. Major geomagnetic storm lights up parts of New Zealand, young drivers more likely to be injured or killed if they were in their own car, announced in a research. 4 internal Apple emails helped Department of Justice to build its case. Elon Musk seeks to pay legal bills for Brampton doctor, chastised over COVID-19 tweets. In Germany, journalists successfully sue for the publication of corona protocols. Texas medical panel won't provide list of exceptions to abortion ban.
Gurman claims that iOS 18 to feature new home screen that is more customizable, as part of biggest iPhone update ever. Apple's iOS future could also include Anthropic. AI girlfriends are 7 times more popular than AI boyfriends.
Chinese scientists create swarming drones that can rapidly multiply mid-air to create a tactical shock. UK commits over £550 million to nuclear defense and energy. US and Japan plan biggest upgrade to security pact in over 60 years. Windows 10 and 11 is forcing users to upgrade Mail app to new Outlook client, which comes with a nasty addition, the adverts. Massive changes coming to Google Chrome threaten to reshape the modern internet. Bitcoin halving in April to cut mining reward, driving an exodus of old US equipment to countries with cheap electricity.
Mounting research shows that COVID-19 leaves its mark on the brain, including with significant drops in IQ scores. Viagra linked to 50% reduction of Alzheimer's risks in new study. Google AI could soon use a person's cough to diagnose disease.
In the US, federal authorities end presidential campaign of literally anybody else. Saudi Arabia to be appointed chair of UN's Gender Equality Forum. Weightlifting Association chairman referring HK as a small country believed to be a slip of the tongue, says SFOC.
A Romanian court rejects Andrew Tate's bid to get his confiscated assets returned. Course des Cafés, Paris revives iconic waiters race ahead of Olympic Games. TikTok has become the official entertainment partner of the Germany men's national team.
Hamas, Al Jazeera admit that the story of IDF rapes in Gaza hospital fabricated. US says major Israel attack on Rafah would be huge mistake. Israel behind alleged sabotage at Iran's covert nuclear arms site, report says.
Canada's maple syrup reserve almost empty as sap season at risk of becoming another casualty of the winter that wasn't. As its workers stream to the US, Mexico runs short of farmhands. India plans to shift from minimum wage to living wage by 2025. 4 men charged in Moscow attack, showing signs of beatings at hearing as court says 2 accept guilt. France raises terror alert level after Moscow attack claimed by IS group. Islamic State claims responsibility for attack on Niger army that killed dozens. Pakistan businesses ask for trade ties with India, new government agrees to consider demand. Argentina bids for the Mercosur free trade agreement with Japan. UK has been found to offer worst value housing of advanced economies.
Israel said willing to free some 800 inmates for 40 hostages, as talks given 50-50 odds. UNRWA says Israel will no longer approve its food convoys to northern Gaza, hidden in UNRWA bags. IDF finds RPGs, grenades, mortar shells in Gaza Strip. Israel's top diplomat calls UN anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli organization. Iran-linked Muddy Water deploys Adara for surveillance and phishing attacks. Chinese hackers access 40 million British voters' personal details in shock strike. China blocks use of Intel and AMD chips in government computers. 3 body problem piracy spikes in China, reflecting intense interest as Hollywood films struggle. Late Night with the Devil made $666,666 at the box office. World's first Dragon Ball theme park.